Islam. The topic which was given to me, it is actually, that was my doctoral thesis about the concept of Mahdi among Al-Sunna. And I hope that as our brother Hasan was telling me that they want to launch this book today, so I have to give them the summarized version of what is contained in that book. Why I have picked this subject, why I selected this subject for my dissertation or for my doctoral thesis. This is, I think I was led by this incident which happened in the beginning of 1400 of Hijrah. 40 years later, 40 years earlier, which is, now we are in 1441, so 41 years earlier, this incident happened in Makkah when forces of about 300 persons, more than 300 persons, they have entered into Al-Masjid al-Haram, and they have declared one of them, who is known to be Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Qahtani, as Al-Mahdi. And as you know that this incident was a unique incident which happened at that time. The mosque was, the door of the mosque was closed from inside, and people were detained. Most of them, they were detained inside the haram. Some managed to come out. Anyhow, they have, they got this mosque for about 15 days with them. The mosque was besieged, so the forces, they tried to penetrate, but they were not able to do it until about 150 persons were killed. And the main person who was supporting Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Qahtani, whose name is Al-Juhayman, he was captured alive, and later, of course, they were beheaded. So this concept of Mahdi was very, very much known among the Muslims. And throughout the history of Islam, there are people who claim to be Al-Mahdi. And that was the last incident. So that prompted me to write about this concept of Al-Mahdi. And in my search, I got this book of Nu'aym bin Hammad, a muhaddis, a traditionalist who died in 228 of Hijrah. So whenever I mention a date of Hijrah and you want to compare it with the Georgian calendar, just for a simple exercise, add 600 into it. 600 into it, and you will get the very approximate date in our calendar, in the Georgian calendar. So 228 means around 828 now. So this book is called Kitab al-Fitan, the book of Fitan or trials by Nu'aym bin Hammad. And in that book, there is a chapter about Al-Mahdi. In this chapter, there are 350 ahadith, and I have selected 122 ahadith, which are mainly about this subject of Al-Mahdi. And then, in accordance with the practice of Al-Muhaddiseen, I have to find out which hadith is correct, sound, and which hadith is weak, or very weak, or even fabricated. So this is how, that was my research work. And we have added 13 ahadith from Musannaf Abdul Razzaq. Musannaf Abdul Razzaq, which is a compilation by a great traditionalist, Abdul Razzaq ibn Hammam, who died in 211, yani before Nu'aym bin Hammad. So I have taken 13 hadiths from him as well. I will go chapter by chapter according to what I have written in this book. So first thing is, what are the things which are common between the concept of Al-Sunna and Shia? Because both Al-Sunna and both Shia or Ahl-Tashayyu regards few things in common as far as the concept of Mahdi is concerned. And these common things are not many. I just mentioned to you that Mahdi would be from the family of the Prophet ﷺ. His name would be Muhammad. His father's name would be Abdullah, like the father of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He would appear by the end of the time, and at the time of the descent of Al-Masih ibn Maryam. And Al-Masih ibn Maryam is going to pray behind this person who is known as Al-Mahdi. These are the few things which are common between us and Shia. Now let me mention the very prominent feature with Shia, which is very different from us. They believe in 12 Imams. 12 Imams, beginning from Sayyidina Ali, and then his son Al-Hussein, and then his son Ali Zainul Abidin, and then Muhammad al-Baqir, and then Jafar al-Sadiq, so on and so forth, until they come to the 11th Imam, whose name is Abu Qasim Muhammad bin Hasan al-Askari. We come to the 11th Imam, which is the father of Muhammad bin Hasan al-Askari. Hasan al-Askari is the 11th Imam. A child is born to him in 256 of Hijrah. 256 of Hijrah. And that date, when I mention this date, just remember Al-Imam Bukhari. His date of death is 256 as well. So he was born in 256, and his name was Muhammad. Father is not Abdullah, father is Hasan al-Askari. He named his son Muhammad, his kunya is Abu Qasim. Now this child, according to them, he disappeared in 261. Just 5 years later, he disappeared. And to them they say that is the first occultation. Occultation's al-ghiba, disappearance. That he disappeared. So this is the minor occultation, which they say it lasted for 70 years. Because 70 years is a normal age of a person. So we know that there was no son of this nature. Even if there was a son from one of the slave girls of Hasan al-Askari, that is the most probable thing, that he got a son from his slave girl. So this son, who is called Muhammad, he died in 5 years' time. But they tell us that he got into disappearance in a cave called a cave in a city in Iraq which is known as Samarra. Samarra is actually, the real name is Surra Man Ra'a. Surra Man Ra'a. Whoever sees it will be pleased. So this is the name which is now called Samarra. So they say that he spent all his life in that cave, and this is the minor occultation. Alright, after 70 years, a man can't live for more than 70, 80, 90, 100 years. So they say after 70 years, his greater occultation, al-ghibatul kubra, or the major occultation started. So he is still there, and they are waiting for him. And he would come out from this cave in Surra Man Ra'a at any time. And if you go to Surra Man Ra'a, Samarra, they got still people outside the cave ready to receive him with horses and with other people who are just waiting for him to come out at any time. So according to them, this Mahdi is the same person who is known as Muhammad bin Hasan al-Askari. Unlike the concept of Al-Sunna, who say that a child would be born from the family of Al-Hasan bin Ali. Actually from the family of Al-Hasan bin Ali, not from the family of Hussein ibn Ali, from the Hasan bin Ali. And this person would be named as Muhammad, his father would be Abdullah, and he would appear at the end of the time. According to Sahih Ahadith, even if there is a day left before the last day of this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to prolong that day, so this Mahdi could appear. And he is the one who is going to establish an Islamic rule, and he will fill the land with justice and with peace and with security after it was filled with tyranny, with injustice. So this is what is the concept of Al-Sunna. Now according to Shia, this man is in his major occultation, and when he is going to appear, even his supporters at the time when he was alive, his supporters who are already dead, they are going to be given life as well. So they will be resurrected. Not only himself he will come out, his supporters will be resurrected, and then he is going to kill the enemies, kill his enemies. What do you think who are the enemies? What is in your mind? He is going to kill the enemies. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. They believe that these are Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Aisha. They are the people who are going to be killed by them. And then even our Prophet ﷺ and Sayyidina Ali is going to be resurrected, and they will give bay'ah, oath of allegiance to him. And then this Quran which is with us is not complete. The real Quran, the complete Quran is still hidden, and Sayyidina Ali would bring it at that time. And then as we believe that this Mahdi is going to rule for 7 years or 9 years, and he will rule with justice. So there is a great difference between the concept of Al-Sunna and Al-Shia in this matter. Throughout the history of Islam, there are about 27 people who claim to be Mahdi. I'm not going to mention their names. I just want to mention only the prominent ones, 9 of them. 9 of them. And the last one, the 9th one, was Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Qahtani, which I have already mentioned. So let us start with the first one from among the family of Hasan ibn Ali. His name is Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Hasan bin Ali bin Abi Talib. That person is known with the title of An-Nafsu Zakiyah, the purified soul. And he appeared during the beginning time of Abbasid regime. You know that after Khulafa al-Rashidin comes Bani Umayyah. And they have ruled about 92 years. And then Abbasid took over, and their rule started. So he was, at that time, he was born in 93 of Hijrah. And later, as we are going to know what happened to him, that people, those who were Alawis, those who were still supporting Sayyidina Al-Hussein, Sayyidina Al-Hasan, they were there, and he was declared a Mahdi by his father. His father wanted him to declare that he is Mahdi. So actually, then he declared himself as a Mahdi. People supported him, and he was able to capture Al-Hijaz, Makkah and Medina, and even the city of Kufa and Basra. and Yemen, and he appointed his rulers, his amirs there as well. But of course, the Abbasid Caliph al-Mansur, he was not asleep, so he sent his forces. And after 2 months and 17 days rule, his uncle Ibrahim was captured, and his 2 sons were captured, his father was captured, and then they were all beheaded. And this is how this movement of Al-Nafs al-Zakiyya came to an end during the time of Al-Mansur, the second caliph of Abbasid rule. Another person is Hamdan ibn Ash'as al-Qirmati in 270 of Hijrah. This person, Hamdan ibn Ash'as al-Qirmati, when you say Qaramata al-Qirmati, just remember that these are the very same people who attacked Makkah at the time of Hajj. They killed a lot of pilgrims, and then they took black stone from Al-Kaaba, which remained with them for 23 years. And then it was restored back by their opponents. So this person, Hamdan ibn Ash'as al-Qirmati, you can say he is the one who is the founder of that movement of Qaramita. He said to his people, you have to pray 50 times a day. 50 times a day is too much. Huh? So after a few days' time, when he realized that it is not possible, he said only 2 prayers a day. Just 2 prayers a day. And then he said, I have given relief to them in prayer, also in fasting. So he said only 2 days fasting. In Ramadan, 2 days fasting is enough for you. If a person is impure, in the state of janaba, impure, then he does not need any bath at all. So Ghusl janaba was taken away from them. Wine became halal, and Jerusalem became the Qibla. So these people, they ruled for about 150 years, and during that period, this incident of attacking Kaaba has happened. And of course after Hamdan ibn Ash'as, so he himself, he is the founder of this Batiniya movement, and which means that they say that in Islam everything got 2 meanings. One, which you people understand, you common people, and there is a batin, inner meaning, which we know that. So this is how a Batiniya movement has erased or taken away all the major commandments of Islam. You people, you pray. No, prayer does not mean what you are doing. Prayer means only to announce the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are so many things in which they have given the wrong interpretation. So this is why there is no need for fasting, no need for Hajj, no need for other commandments of Islam. And then they got very disturbing concepts about each and everything. Just a simple example, you see the thumb? In each finger you got this 3 sections, but in the thumb it is only two sections. You got the same 2 sections, or my thumb is different? No, you got the same, huh? Yeah. Say, why there are 2 sections here? Why? Astaghfirullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it like this, but they say, you people, you don't know. One is for Nabi, and one for his successor, for his wasi, for whom he has given legacy that he is going to become caliph after him. So he say every prophet got a wasi, like Musa alayhi salam, he got Yusha is wasi. Now, Muhammad, who is the wasi of Muhammad? Ali. So Ali is his successor. In this way, they give interpretation for everything. That is called al-Batini. Even you see this al-Batiniya people, their salam is actually Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali, Madad. That is their salam. Just if they are in front of Muslims, they would say Assalamu alaikum. But actually, when they meet each other, they would say Ya Ali, Madad. This is the same greeting of all sects of Batiniya, including Ismailiya as well. So that was the second one. Then third one is Muhammad bin Abdullah Tumart al-Hasani. 524 is the death state from Al-Maghrib, the area, the Morocco, Maghrib. So Morocco or Marrakesh at that time, in the 6th century of Hijrah, there was a rule of Murabitin. You might have heard about the leader of Murabitin, Yusuf ibn Tashfin. Yusuf ibn Tashfin, who went to help the people in Andalus, in Spain, in Andalus. So this Yusuf ibn Tashfin was a great warrior, and his movement is called Al-Murabitun. So this person, when he claimed Mahdawiya, that he is a Mahdi, he got his commander, his name is Abdul Mumin, and they named themselves Al-Muwahhidin, that we are Muwahhid, we believe in one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in the year 516, they were able to defeat Murabitin, and they started their rule. And it is said that this person, after the death of Muhammad bin Abdullah, Abdul Mumin became the caliph. And he was the most tyrant ruler after Al-Hajjaj. The history of Al-Hajjaj is known to you, Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. So he was the most tyrant ruler after Al-Hajjaj. Fourth person, which is also very prominent, because the place from which we people have come, India, there should be someone from there as well, because this land has produced not only Mahdi, it has produced some prophets as well, impostor prophets. So this person, Sayyid Muhammad Jaunpuri, in 910, his date of death is 910, and there is a place called Danapur in India. So Jaunpur, Danapur, they are near to each other. He started his movement that he is a Mahdi, and even the Nawab of Hyderabad, whose name was Sultan Ahmad Nizam Shah at that time, he gave him the oath of allegiance. So in this way, the movement of Muhammad Jaunpuri flourished. He went for Hajj. When he came back from Hajj, he saw that there is a great objection to his movement. So this is why he left for Kandahar, Afghanistan. He went to Kandahar, and he was not able to carry on in India. He went to Afghanistan, to Kandahar, and later he died in a place called Farah. So those who believed in him, they did not come to an end. Still in our times there are people who believe that he was a Mahdi. After that comes another name, the great Mughal Emperor Jalaluddin Akbar, who died in 1014 of Hijrah. So 1014 means it was the end of the first millennium of Islamic history. Just remember, when 2000 started, so it was the second millennium of this Christian calendar. So this is why they were expecting at that time the coming of Jesus. So in the very same way, at the end of the first millennium of Hijrah, Jalaluddin Akbar was the emperor. Ibn Arabi, you might have heard about Ibn Arabi. He was a great Sufi scholar. Don't mix him up with Ibn al-Arabi. Ibn al-Arabi is a jurist, he is a faqih, a Maliki faqih. But Ibn Arabi, he is the one of the Sufi scholars. So he said that Mahdi would be a clean-shaved person and with many wives. And Jalaluddin Akbar said, yes, these two signs are found in me. He is clean-shaved. And he got many wives, even Hindu wives. So he claimed to be a Mahdi as well. But anyhow, Jalaluddin Akbar, that is a different case. We can say that he even did not recognize Sharia. He changed the Sharia and just to please the Hindus, they have changed all the commandments of Islam. And he introduced another deen which is known to be Deen Ilahi, his own deen. We say Deen Akbari. That was the deen of Akbar. According to this Georgian calendar, he died in 1605. After that comes Sayyid Muhammad Noor Bakhsh. He was also Jaunpuri, who died in 1045. Noor Bakhsh. If you read the history of Kashmir, Gilgit, Baltistan, you will find many Noor Bakhshiya there. Many Noor Bakhshiya. So they are the followers of this person. Then comes Muhammad Ahmad Mahdi of Sudan, who died in 1303, in the last Hijri year. According to the Christian calendar, that was when he died, that was 21st June 1885. So we are coming nearer to our century, 1885. He claimed Mahdaviya in 1881. His name is Muhammad. His father's name is Abdullah. His mother's name is Amina. All characters are there. So people believe that he is the right Mahdi. And then he was able to defeat the colonial powers and the forces which came from the ruler of Egypt. He defeated them. And then he defeated the forces in Kordofan, which is in Sudan, one of the provinces of Sudan. And he besieged General Gordon. And when you read the English history of this country, you will come across General Gordon. And he killed him in 1884. So he acquired the power, and with that power he ruled for quite some years. He died in natural death in 1885. Later his son started or continued with the rule. Then comes Lord Kitchener. And Lord Kitchener is the one who was able to besiege the Mahdi's forces and defeat them. And he was so brutal that he took out the body of Al-Mahdi from the grave and then he beheaded his head. He beheaded Al-Mahdi. So this person, Muhammad Ahmad Mahdi Sudani, that was one of the famous claimant to Al-Mahdi. After that comes most famous in India, that is Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, who died in 1326 of Hijrah, which is 1908. That person claimed everything. In 1880 he claimed to be a Mujaddid, a renewer of the faith. And after that he said, I am Mahdi. After that he said, I am the promised Messiah, Masih al-Maw'ud. And in 1901 he wrote a booklet in which he very, very clearly said that I am a messenger. So those people who say that he did not claim messengerhood, they are wrong. He has claimed that he is the prophet. He is not only the promised Messiah, he said he is a prophet, he is a messenger as well. So he was one of the most famous claimant of Madhaviya and prophethood as well. And after that, the last one is Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Qahtani, whom I mentioned right in the beginning of my speech. Then I have mentioned in this book those people who are known to be, who are said to be Mahdi not by themselves but by their supporters. And some other people said you are Mahdi but they did not claim it. Like Sayyidina Ali, even Sayyidina Muawiyah, and then Muhammad ibn Hanafiya, the son of Al-Hussein, because the supporters of Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, who are known as Kaysaniya, they said that you are al-Mahdi. He did not claim himself to be Mahdi. And then Muhammad al-Baqir among the Imams of Shia, then his son Jafar al-Sadiq, and even among the Khulafa of Abbasid regime, there is Al-Mansur. He named his son Al-Mahdi because he thought that these people, these Alawi people, they keep on bringing Al-Mahdi, why not me? So he named his son Al-Mahdi. So he is one of the caliphs of Abbasid regime. And then, of course, Muhammad bin Hasan al-Askari, because this was just an infant who passed away after 5 years, but according to them, according to Shia, he disappeared in a cave. This was his minor occultation, al-Ghibat al-Sughra, and after 70 years they say this is now his major occultation, which will last until he reappears once again. A great warrior in Islam in India, Sayyid Ahmad Barelvi, who was martyred in Balakot in 1838 by Sikh forces, he was also claimed by other people that he is a Mahdi. And then Muhammad bin Ali as-Sannusi, who died in 1859, that is from Libya. These are the people who did not claim Mahdaviya, but other people, they said that they are Mahdi. Now those people who reported the hadith of Mahdi, nothing in Bukhari and Muslim. Nothing in Bukhari and Muslim. This is why Ibn Khaldun completely denied the idea of Al-Mahdi. He said, if there is someone called Al-Mahdi, why not Bukhari or Muslim brought any hadith about them? So most of the hadiths are found in later books of Al-Ahadith, means the 4 As-Sunan, and many other books, including the books which I have just mentioned to you, which is the basis of my thesis, and that is Kitab al-Fitan of Nu'aym bin Hammad, Musannaf Abdul Razzaq, and many other books. So those people who rejected this belief al-Mahdi, first of all is Ibn Khaldun, who died in 808 Hijrah. In present times, Muhammad Farid Wajdi of Egypt, Ahmad Amin of Egypt, Rashid Rida of Egypt, Muhammad Fahim Abu Ubayyah, and then from Emirates, Abdullah bin Zayd al-Mahmud, he is a great scholar, and there is one from Pakistan, Habibur Rahman Siddiqui. So these are the people who said that this concept is totally wrong. I mentioned to you in the beginning that I have picked 13 hadiths from Musannaf Abdul Razzaq and 122 hadiths from Nu'aym bin Hammad and 11 from the other traditionists. The summary of my research is that out of all these 146 hadiths, those who are accepted, those who may be Sahih or Hasan are acceptable, there are only 22. Out of 146 hadiths, only 22 are acceptable. 119 are rejected completely. Either they are fabricated or they are very, very weak. And there are 5 hadiths which got nothing to do with the concept of Mahdi. They speak about other events which happened in the history of Islam. I have mentioned to you that the few features of Al-Mahdaviya according to the concept of Al-Sunna I have already mentioned. Or let me mention to you the major features of Al-Mahdi which are supported by these ahadith. There are about 13 features. First of all, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring this Mahdi even if one day is left from the age of this world. Secondly, I said to you about his name, like the name of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His father's name, like the father's of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Third, he is from the family of the Prophet. Fourth, he is from the family of Hasan bin Ali, specifically. And what is the reason behind it? One reason which comes to our mind and which has been mentioned by some of the scholars, that Hasan is the person who abdicated the caliphate by himself, only to bring peace and reconciliation among the Muslims, among the two great factions of Islam, the followers of Sayyidina Ali and followers of Sayyidina Muawiyah. So he abdicated, he left caliphate. And our Prophet ﷺ has said, Inna ibni hadha sayyidun. This my son is a sayyid, is a master, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to create reconciliation on his hand between the two great factions of Islam. So, when he abdicated, he left Khilafah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him that among his progeny there would be a great caliph, and that is Al-Mahdi. Number 5, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this man is not, would not be very ready to take hold or to announce Al-Mahdaviyyah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to perfect him in one night. يُصْلِحُهُ اللَّهُ فِي لَيْلَةٍ. And about his facial features, it is said that his forehead is white and his nose is aquiline. That is about the feature of his face. Number 7, there would be a lot of barakats, blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during this time, and the wealth would be in abundance, and this man is going to give that money with generosity. Number 8, there would be peace and security during his time. There would be complete justice during his time. Number 9, there would be a lot of barakat of heaven and the earth. Number 10, Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam is going to descend during his time and would pray behind him. Pray behind him. Why? Just to show that he is not a new prophet, he is a follower of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 11, he is going to be there for 7 or 9 years. Number 12, and he would be a ruler during that time. Number 13, and the time when he appears, he would be 51 years old. So these are 13 features which we understand from the Sahih Ahadith out of 146 Ahadith which I have picked in my thesis. Now let us take his picture about him and about his opponents according to these weak Ahadith. I'm just going to mention them one after the other, not to take your time. So they say that Al-Mahdi is going to dig out the original manuscript of Tawrat and Injil from a city called Antakya, Antioch, which is now in Turkey, and he will also discover Tabut as-Sakina, the box of tranquility, which was found during the time of Sayyidina Musa al-Islam, and later it was lost, and then it was captured as it is explained in the ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah. During his time, there would be black flags coming from the east, from Khurasan, headed by a person called Suhaib ibn Saleh, who is going to support Al-Mahdi. That person is going to fight the Turks, and when we say the Turk, we do not mean actually the Turk of Turkey, but all those people who are from the Turk origins, going back to Mongolia and these areas, they are known as Turk. He is going to fight them. One of the signs during his time would be a star who would be very bright, and the sun is going to eclipse twice. Mahdi would be in Medina, and he would run away to Makkah. Even these weak ahadith has given the time that it would be 204 of Hijrah when Mahdi is going to appear. 204 of Hijrah. There would be, during the time of Yazid ibn Muawiyah, Abdullah bin Zubayr got his caliphate in Al-Madinah, in Al-Hijaz, Makkah, Medina, which he ruled there. So after his martyrdom, because he was killed by Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, there would be a cry from the heaven saying, this is Al-Mahdi. So unusual things are going to happen according to these weak ahadith. And this person would take oath of allegiance beside Maqam Ibrahim. He will deliver a khutbah, a sermon. After that, he is the one who is going to invade Constantinople, which is known in Arabic as Qustantiniya, and he is going to invade Rome as well. It is also said that before his appearance, 7 persons are going to look for him, look for Mahdi, until they find this person Al-Mahdi, and they would say to him, declare your Mahdaviya, and he would decline. And they will keep on persisting upon him. He would run away to Al-Madinah. They will chase him to Al-Madinah until he declares his Mahdaviya. Then there would be supporters from Iraq and supporters from Syria. They would come to support him. He would go with 12,000 persons to Ilya, which is Jerusalem, and there he is going to kill his opponent. Who was this opponent? That I am going to tell a few things about him now later. So he would going to kill him, and again in his time there would be lot of wealth, lot of barakah, and it is also said that there is no one Mahdi, there are 2 Mahdi, one from the progeny of Hasan ibn Ali, and one from the progeny of Bani Abd Shams, means from Bani Umayyah's line. And he would remain in the land for 40 years, according to some 30 years, 24 years, and even 7 years. They say that there would be 2 Mahdi, and then Sayyidina al-Masih would come, and there would be a Khalifa, a Caliph, who is known to be Al-Khalifatul Yamani, a Yemeni Caliph, who is going to invade India. Nowadays there is so much discussion about the invasion of Al-Hind or Ghazw al-Hind. So these Zaif hadith also mention about this Khalifa. Now let me give some features of the other person who is going to oppose Al-Mahdi. They say that he is from the progeny of Khalid ibn Yazid. Yazid is some Khalid. From his progeny, a man would appear, he is known to be a Sufyani. You can say that attributing to Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan. He is known as As-Sufyani, and he would be supported by yellow flags. Mahdi is supported by black flags. He is supported by yellow flags. And when he would be going to appear, after the 7th Caliph of Bani Abbas is killed. And then there would be a dispute between 2 Abbasid Caliphs at that time. He would be there, and according to these Zaif ahadith or weak ahadith, there would be disruption, disorder, corruption everywhere in the land except for 3 cities. Antakya is one of them, and then Al-Qudus, and then one in Syria. So this person is going to enter into Egypt as well, and he will kill a lot. He will enter into Kufa, into Khurasan, into Al-Madinah. Wherever he enters, he is going to create a havoc and disorder, killing the people, killing the women. And then Mahdi is going to appear in Mecca, so he would send his forces to Mecca, and before they reach Mecca, they are going to sink in the land. So these forces who are going to sink in the land, in the earth, among them is Banu Kalb, yani people from a tribe of Banu Kalb. All of them are going to sink except 2 persons. One is Wabar, the other is Wabil. Wabar and Wabil. They would survive only to tell the people that our supporters or our forces are sunk in the land. Now, please, could you tell me how much time do you allow me now? Because I don't want to take someone's time now, lecture after me. All right. So very briefly, let me say that in the other chapters of this dissertation, I have taken two Orientalists. One is Margolius, who is a Jew, and the other is Wilfred Maitland, those who have spoken and written about Al-Mahdi. And they have said that this idea of Mahdi, or all what is mentioned about Al-Mahdi, is nothing but a reflection of the political events which were taking place at that time. Because they say, look, what happened? Abdullah bin Zubayr was in Al-Madinah when Yazid became caliph, and he wanted oath of allegiance from him. So he ran away from Al-Madinah, he came to Makkah. And these ahadith, there is a hadith of Salama, which very clearly say, this hadith of Salama, that after the death of a caliph, there would be some dissension and dispute. So a man would run away from Medina to Makkah, and then people of Makkah are going to support him, and they will give him an oath of allegiance, and then there would be forces coming from Syria to combat him until when they are in a place or in the desert between Makkah and Medina, they are going to sink. So what both these gentlemen, Margolius and Maitland, is saying, that these are the reflection, these ahadiths are fabricated. They are all fabricated because they are just speaking about the political scenes in those times. And then they wanted to tell us that this hadith is fabricated. This hadith is fabricated by whom? Even they have created those people who were behind the fabrication of this hadith. And some of them said that this Mahdi is coming from the word Mahd. Mahd means cradle. So because Sayyidina Isa a.s. has spoken in the cradle, يُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ فِي الْمَهْدِ وَكَهْلًا وَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ مَهْدًا فِي الْمَهْدِ. So they say this word Mahdi is coming from Mahd. So it means there is no person as Mahdi among the Muslims to come, but it is Isa a.s. who would come once again. So they wanted to attribute this word to Mahd. Some others said, no, it is al-Muhdi. Muhdi means the person who gives hadiyah, gift. So because this person is going to give a lot of money to the people, very generous, so this is how this word has come. So the main thing is that they are saying that all these ahadiths about Mahdi is just like the idea of a savior among the Christians and the Jews, which is developed among the Muslims in the shape of Al-Mahdi. So there is nothing called Al-Mahdi. So I have said in my refutation of his claims, I have said, of course, many things, but one thing which I have said at that time when I was writing this thesis, that was in 1989, in Romania, there was great riots between common people and the government. So, when they have opened fire on the demonstrators, it is said that hundreds of them were killed. Some figure are not in hundreds, they are in thousands. They say might be 60,000 people were killed. So there is a difference of opinion about the number of the people who were killed, whether they were in hundreds or in thousands. My argument is, because there is a difference of opinion about the number of the people who were killed, can we deny the whole incident? That no fire was opened at all, no shot was fired at all. We can't say that. In the very same way, we are saying that these are many ahadiths about Mahdi. There might be fabricated ahadiths. This is what I have proved. And there might be many weak ahadiths. which I have mentioned. But it does not mean that we are going to negate the concept of Mahdi altogether. No, we can't do that. We have our own standard of checking the ahadith, the isnad of ahadith, and with this checking we came to these conclusions which I have mentioned to you, that out of 146 ahadith, only 22 are found to be sound and perfect and sahih. So according to these 22 ahadith, we know that there would be a person from the progeny of Sayyidina Hasan ibn Ali who would appear at the end of the time, and he would be a great caliph, and he is known to be Al-Mahdi, and during his time Isa ibn Maryam is going to descend, and then there would be a great encounter between Masih, the true Messiah, and the false Messiah, which is impostor Dajjal, which is known as Dajjal, the impostor Messiah. And Sayyidina al-Masih is going to kill him at Lud in Palestine. And Lud is the same place which is known as Lod, which is the airport of Tel Aviv nowadays. So we can't deny that concept at all, but we can only say that with all these description or details, it is not true, which I have just mentioned, because they are based upon Sahih ahadith. But as far as Sahih ahadith are concerned, yes, this concept is valid, and inshallah it is going to happen. So I hope that, as Brother Ali said, that this book is going to be presented to you. We want to inaugurate it, so you can have a look upon the title, if not the book itself. And with this, I ask for your leave. Sallallahu ta'ala ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.